Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing. I am one of the hosts, Chris Mack, and I have with me my lovely friend, Elizabeth. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? We're
Good.
recording
You
this
know
in
what?
advance, so don't be topical.
No, I won't be topical. Uh, only when we're talking about the subject at hand, which is season 1, episode 4 of Sex and the City. I just realized I watched one of our old episodes and I realized I was doing the age-old mistake. I was saying Sex in the City and not
Oh, were
Sex and
you?
the
Oh
City.
no! It's the
Yes,
Mandela effect.
even in
There's a
our post,
different
I was
show.
thinking like it really is. And here's the thing too. Even in like our Instagram post and Twitter, I was also putting Sex in the City. I just went back and looked, and I was like,
Do I
Sex
have
in
to?
the City.
Don't make me proofread you, young sir.
No. I got it now. Here's the thing, though. The crazy thing was on one of the posts where like I actually like it was like literally a movie like or like a poster for the show. It says Sex and the City. I put hashtag Sex and the City in the hashtags, but I also put Sex in the City. But I also kind of like it because I feel like there's probably still a bunch of people who look up Sex in the City.
Oh, for sure.
And
yeah.
they're gonna find it. You know what I mean?
If
So
you say
we're
it,
getting both demographics, those that know and those that don't know.
if you say it fast enough, it sounds like you're saying Sex in the City. If you aren't enunciating,
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It also, but I also picture. I used to picture it like sex in the city, like the letter in the city.
Oh,
That's how
yeah.
people say it when they
Like
say it really
apostrophe
fast.
N in the city.
Yeah, sex in the city.
Sex in the City.
Yeah, sex in the city. That's leaning into that in.
Well, yeah. So this is the episode 4, Valley of the 20-something guys.
Yeah. I got a lot of things to say about this episode. Two things. Two big things I take from this episode. One, hella problematic. One thing is that like it's super problematic because like the way that these women are doing these 20-something-year-olds is like dirty. And like here's the thing too, is because like we just had like episode 2 and they were talking about toxic bachelors, but like in this episode, they were kind of toxic bachelorettes, if we're gonna be honest.
I don't know that I agree.
Don't you? How could you not? They were literally, the whole episode was literally about these older women using young guys just to make them feel good. Tell that to all the older men
dating all the younger women. Tell that to all the older men dating all the younger women.
I'm not saying that it's cool for us to do it. I'm just saying it's toxic all around. That's all I'm saying. You can't have an episode about toxic bachelors and then be toxic bachelorettes, because that's some toxic bachelorette shit.
How were they toxic though? Explain.
Okay,
I'm not seeing it. They're just.
You're not seeing. I'm sorry. Wait. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Did you watch the episode?
I did. I took a bunch of notes.
Okay, so you watched it, and you're still asking me that question.
I watched it for this.
So clearly, we didn't watch it.
Assignment we
didn't watch it the same way. We didn't watch it the same way, which is amazing.
Not. Yeah.
Because usually we do, but like barely we saw this episode a different light. I hear what you're saying though, like, because there's been plenty of shows and plenty of movies where like guys get to do this and it's glorified. And I'm with you. You're 100% correct. Even when I seen that in movies, I didn't like it. I never liked it. I never appreciated that kind of behavior because, like, I don't believe in using people just to make you feel good. Like, that's some like up, toxic shit. You know what I'm saying?
Using people to make you feel good. Yes, that is bad. I see what you're complaining.
You know what I mean? Because like Carrie literally like left the weird date with Mr. Big, and then she was like, I feel like shit. And then she went to the club and met up with the 20-something dude who, and then had sex with him, and then like woke up after she had like a great night of orgasms and was like, oh, this is disgusting. He's not my type. Like,
his apartment was fucking foul.
To be fair,
that place was.
To be fair, I think that would stop anybody back to their senses of like, what the fuck is going on?
That place has roaches and mice living together in harmony, just off screen. Yeah. That place was gross.
Well, see, that's another thing I didn't like about this episode, because it was like a gross exaggeration of a 20-something's apartment. Like, yes, in my 20s, my apartment wasn't great, but it wasn't like that. I never had an apartment like that. That was a very broad stroke
Yeah.
paint picture of like somebody in their 20s. But I get it. It's for effect. I understand. I'm not,
It's
I understand how this
to
business
make
works,
the
but
point.
still. Yeah. But still, I was like, man, y'all ain't being fair to these 20-something-year-olds.
This
Also,
vindicates Skipper though a bit. This vindicates your original feelings about Skipper, and Miranda definitely using him. I will. Hi cat. My cat joined the podcast if you're watching the video.
Hey, what's up?
What do you call it? Yeah, this vindicates Skipper a bit, or vindicates your opinion on Skipper, and exonerates him a little from my original recollections and assumptions.
Yeah, I mean,
she's full on using him.
Like everybody,
she calls it a fuck thing.
Oh, straight up.
And I was like, dang.
Oh, straight up. Oh.
That's stone cold.
Didn't even pretend that it wasn't nothing else. She straight up said it's a fuck thing, and I was like, okay, I'm with you. Here's the thing though, even though like that's savage behavior and that's fucked up, I still respected Miranda's gangster, because like low key she's been straight, like pretty much the most straight up forward person the entire series.
And I don't think she's necessarily really leading Skipper on in any way, or at least it doesn't seem to be that way.
No,
I think Skipper's got feelings. He caught feelings, if you will.
Right.
And she's like, I am here for your little Skipper and nothing else.
Well, the way that she spoke about it and the way that she kind of behaved when they were at the club, I kind of got that vibe that like whatever her, like at least from that little interaction, whatever her behaviors are when they're around each other, they're still very honest. Like I feel like she's definitely letting him know that, hey, this is just a sex thing. My thing is like the only thing about it is like she's been straightforward. I feel like she's been straightforward in her behaviors, and like I feel like he knows that it's just a sex thing. But I also feel like this is still low key kind of shady on her part, because like some part of her has to know that he obviously has feelings for her. And here's the other part. She's definitely going to be the first one to move on from the relationship before he does. So like when she finds the better guy, quote unquote, that makes her feel better, he's going to be left in the wind, and it's going to be tragedy for him.
It's going to be rough. And it's sad too, because in the little like all those boys playing basketball scene, he was like, I like older women. They're like self-assured and know what they want. And I was like, oh, that's a nice thing to say, you sweet baby angel.
He was the only decent dude in that entire little montage. All the rest of them, like the little 17-year-old was like, smart pussy. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I was like, good. Will you kiss your mother with that, Matt? Good Lord.
I don't think I ever spoke like that when I was 17. I know I didn't. Christ. Have some manners.
And also the one that was like, oh, they remind me of my mom. It was like,
right. It had to be the brother too. I was mad. I was mad it was the brother that said that, because like low key, like that's kind of like at least in the Black community, that seems to be a lot of problem that women have with brothers in the community, that they're like too much of mama's boys. So like the brother saying that, I was like, man. And also it was kind of cool because that means like whoever writes for the show had their hands on the pulse of like other cultures, like they knew what was going around. So I was like, okay, it's not just a white show.
That is not a compliment.
Dip into some things
often levied at this show, but I'm sure that does not come up very often.
I'm sure they rather hear like it's funny or interesting, but like, hey, it's cultured as well. You know what I mean?
Occasionally.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is a show based in New York, and they have way more diversity in this show than Friends ever did. Okay, so kudos HBO.
Yes and no. You'll see.
Oh, it's more. Here's the thing. Wait. Here's the thing. No. Here's the thing.
Still a very white show.
In Friends episodes. Oh, it's still very white. I'm not saying it's not very white, but here's the thing. In Friends, I think you can probably count as many different ethnicities like on like one hand. At least in this show, I've seen at least one or two different Black people. Like at least in a party scene, because even in the party scene in Friends, you ain't see no Black people. You're like, how are they at a New Year's Eve party and no Black people in New York came? Nobody, not one Black person, not one. They didn't leave the boroughs at all? Okay, cool. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, come on, diversify. At least in this episode, they got some diversity. It's pretty good.
Also, we have to point out.
I was talking about that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That Carrie's younger hookup is Timothy Olyphant. It's little baby Timothy Olyphant from Justified, and I guess now The Mandalorian. I haven't watched The Mandalorian yet, but he looks fucking fine in that Mandalorian armor. Oh my god,
he does. He looks pretty good.
So hot in that Mandalorian armor. I can't. It's killing me.
Take it easy. You're gonna melt your keyboard.
I shall not.
Keyboard.
I will not.
Heat. All that heat coming from you.
I'm so sad Santa Clarita Diet got canceled because he and Drew Barrymore were really funny on that, but he especially was like amazing.
Okay, so we're talking about Timothy Olyphant. Let's talk about period. The 20-something guys that they went through, like when they went to the hot spot.
Yeah.
None of those guys like they were in their 20s. I don't care what you say. You can show me their ID and it could say 21 and I wouldn't fucking believe you. They all looked 30-5. Okay, there's no way. They all had the same face. There's no. They didn't even look like a Hollywood 20s. They didn't even look like a Hollywood 20s. You know, sometimes suspend your disbelief a little bit when they're like, oh, high school, even though they look like they're 25. These guys are clearly like 35, 40 for sure.
I thought Timothy Olyphant
every single one of them,
young.
Especially the dude when they showed. He was the youngest, but like because like even Skipper's supposed to be 27.
Yeah,
that nigga's 37. I don't care what you say. Skipper and Timothy Olyphant's character, they both look the youngest of all the men that they showed that were in their 20s.
Yeah,
but they both still look like they're in their 30s for sure. Like they're like, I just didn't believe it.
Hang on, now I want to look up how old Timothy Olyphant looks or was when.
If he was like 19, I'm giving.
He's not 19. That's a lot.
If they're trying to say he was in his 20s, I'm still gonna quit because I don't believe.
Stand back. I'm gonna do some math here. Hang on. I'm good at math.
Do that math, girl.
Just gonna take a second to find him on the IMDb. Continue with your other. So you said it was problematic for a couple of reasons. We got through the use situation.
Oh yes, being used, it's abuse situation. Also, it was kind of problematic because.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop you right there. You are 100% educated. He was 30 when this episode aired. Nailed it.
Did I tickle or what, son?
Absolutely nailed it. I'm terrible with ages, actually.
Well, but I'm only good with guys' ages. Women, it's always a toss-up because, like, if depending on their height, like if they're like 5, if they're under 5'5", it's harder to tell because you know being short and then also looking young is very hard. It's a tricky thing for the eyes. So it's always harder for me. But men, I can always tell. I'm like, that's a 30-year-old dude. Don't you try it.
Absolutely nailed it. Holy shit. Spot on. That's crazy.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Sorry, go back to your other point that I interrupted you again.
No, please. No, for that, listen, you were vindicating me. You can interrupt me all the time if that's what it's for. I am a true narcissist. No, I'm kidding. Another thing that kind of got me I wouldn't say that made the episode problematic, but I had some feelings about it. The whole dynamic between Carrie and Mr. Big, like the whole because here's my thing that I guess that I had a problem with was like, you know, in the show she was saying that, you know, 20-somethings are more simple and men in their 30s and 40s are more complicated. And I always thought women perceived us as the opposite. Like 20-somethings are more complicated because they're like all over the place, but like
Miranda says that Charlotte says that like, oh, they're so young and scattered when they're in their 20s.
Right. Yeah. Right. She says that. Then Carrie's like, men in their 40s are more of a complicated puzzle than men in their 20s.
I don't know where I fall on that.
Do you feel that way?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't really.
I have multiple questions if that's there.
I sort of dated someone older than me, but you know what?
Okay.
I got kind of dicked around, frankly. Kind of, you know, shown one thing and told another, if that makes sense. Behavior seemed to indicate, oh, he liked me, we wanted to date. Was told no. no, we're not dating, and we're not, together.
Interesting.
And he was,
Man, I guess
pushing 40 when we were dating. Or he's 40 now.
Really?
Yeah. He was
Interesting.
like not hugely older than me, but like I want to say like 7 or 8.
No. Yeah.
7 or 8 years older than me. So
Yeah,
I was in my 20s. He was in his 30s. Yeah.
That's interesting, man. Because you know what?
He was my crossword puzzle.
Does make a little sense. He was your crossword puzzle.
He was my crossword puzzle.
Or, sorry, as Carrie put it, human puzzle.
My human puzzle. Yeah, that metaphor
puzzle.
really fell apart right the last 10 seconds of the. I was like, just stick with the crossword puzzle thing. I got you the first time.
Yeah, she was. They tried to throw too many puzzle puns in there, and it didn't work. But you know what? That's actually interesting that you kind of said that, because it almost makes a little sense, because I feel like older guys are probably a little bit more scared to commit for two reasons. Mm-hmm. One, because as you get older, you get a little bit smarter. It like broadens up, so you like understand the true pressures and like what it takes to like be a good father or be a good husband and all this other stuff. So like it's harder for you to want to dive into that, because you actually know what it takes to actually put in the work to be those things. And I think in your 20s, you have no idea what it takes. So like you're all about the romance. You're all about like, hey, be my girlfriend. Hey, be my wife. Like that's what I think. That's why like younger men get married a lot quicker than older men, because they don't truly understand like the dynamic that they're getting themselves into when they make these decisions. Because you're dumb. You're young and dumb. You're just like, hey, vagina, I like her. Husband, I'll be husband.
Yeah, I actually saw,
you know what I mean,
like a TikTok of all things of a younger guy who was saying like, don't worry about like dating for a relationship when you're young, because like you don't know what you want. You don't right. And going in with that being your only end goal is going to only lead to like chaos and hurt. Just go in for the person and the fun stuff, if you want, and see how things go, but don't be like, this person is going to be my future partner for life, which is a lot of what Charlotte does, by the way. She's very like,
correct. Yeah,
I got one track, and I got one goal,
right.
One shot, one opportunity.
Yeah, husband, kids, house with nice sheets. Apparently sheets are a big thing, because this bitch had 300 count Egyptian sheets. I was like, okay, yeah, sleeping on a soft bed. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's a bed you don't want to get out of. Listen, if she don't, she may know, she may be in a rush to get a man, but she damn sure know how to keep a man. Because I would stay in bed for those sheets. That sounds heavenly.
And her apartment was immaculate, beautiful.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah. She put it together.
You definitely hang out there.
No offense to you women folk, but that's one of the cleanest woman apartments I've ever seen.
Yeah, I gotta clean in here. Actually, it's a good thing you can't
I don't. I'm not judging you. That's not a slide on you.
I know.
Women in general, women who's like cars or apartments or bathrooms I've seen, it's pretty bad.
We're a little smug about like, oh, our apartments are always better, generally, but also like it's because everything gets shoved and hidden away. There's a great, like, do you know the comedian Eliza I cannot say her last name. Schlesinger, yeah. Thank you. So I couldn't even get it right. She did a great bit.
I just know because she's from Texas.
A couple like of her specials ago about preparing for a guy to come over and hiding like all your filth. She was like, oh, you go to a girl's car and it's clean, check that center console, it's awful. And then like just the descriptions of what's in there.
For fucking sure. Oh dude, like there's two places where women are, I think, the grossest, or at least as compared to as gross as guys can be. Bathrooms and cars. I think both men and women can rival each other as far as bathroom and cars go, because you guys' bathrooms aren't great. But here's the difference between our nastiness and your nastiness. Usually your nastiness is just like maybe some toilet tissue around, or like some like makeup stains or some shit like that. Our nastiness is like literal pee stains.
Like you literally pissed on the floor.
Human liquid stains. Right. Yeah. So there is a difference. There is a difference in the filth, for sure.
One you can touch with your bare hand, the other not so much.
Yeah.
within
sure.
to a certain
Absolutely.
degree.
Well, that's why I was like, low key, like how Carrie was like all bougie about that dude's apartment. But then I was like, well, then again, if I was there as a guy, I wouldn't even want to sit down. So
Yeah,
I respect it.
and the toilet paper thing. But I have seen some funny
Mhm.
comments that like I forget even what the prompt was that I was looking at. It was like a BuzzFeed article or something that was like, men, get a little trash can in your bathroom and we will be far less grossed out. Because where are you blow your nose in the bathroom? Will you just flush it? What do you do with it? Where do Q-tips go? What do you do with those
Hey,
things?
I didn't even know that was something I needed, but I got it. I got a little trash can. I grew up with little trash cans in my bathroom my entire life,
Yeah.
and I just thought that was just like a normal thing. I didn't know that men weren't out here with little trash
Me
cans
too.
in
Yeah,
their
until I was
bathroom.
reading that, I had no idea because I was like, yeah, my family, I grew up with my brother and dad, and there was a trash can in the family bathroom. And they put like
Well,
Q-tips.
that
So,
makes me feel good.
but back to Carrie and Big. So this is interesting because as you're seeing more of the push pull with her and him, and this like,
Mhm.
sort of chase. This is an interesting episode because normally she's very, I'm gonna say, kind of desperate, borderline chasing him down, and she makes some bold power moves.
Okay.
In I think compared to what
Yes.
she will do later, where she's at the dinner and then the obnoxious friend is there and she's like, I'm not fucking, this is not a date, I'm not fucking with this, bye, have fun. And then same thing when she bumps into him on the street and that same guy's there with his date and he's like, oh, join us, and she's like, no, like take me on a proper date. Like,
I respect that.
and I was
The
like,
only thing I
that's
didn't
a
like
bold
about
move, I like it.
the only thing I didn't like about that part was the fact that here's the thing. This is the only thing I'm gonna say because
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a pessimist, but like in reality, Mr. Big fucked up twice in this episode. No girl's gonna give this guy a third chance. I don't care how hot you are. Like once
Mm-hmm.
her pride is fucked with, like he fucked with her pride, like having
Yeah.
his obnoxious friend at that drink thing,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been it. The girl would have been like, lose my number. If she seen him again in New York, she'd tell him to go fuck himself. Like the fact
Mm-hmm.
that she gave him a third chance, I was like, no, that ain't real.
He
A
is
girl
good.
like Carrie, she would have been told him to go fuck himself a long time ago, fam.
He is gonna get so many chances. You're not even gonna know what to
Really?
do with him.
Oh, he already had so many this episode that I was just like, he was so clueless too. Like when she was at the birthday, or not the birthday, excuse me, the drink thing, and his friend
Yeah.
was there. He was like oblivious to her sarcasm. She was like, "Oh yeah, this is fucking awesome." He was like, "Okay, cool. I'll see you later." Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on. And he gets more chances? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Have fun with
Like, and
that.
also too, come on, guy. That's a rookie. That's rookie move 101. Okay, if your friend calls you up crying and you have a date later, you call that date and let them know, like, look, I have a friend that
Mm-hmm.
needs my comfort. Can we, and you let them know, can we do this
Can we
again? Like, can we
reschedule?
reschedule this? That's how you let them know. Yeah, that's how you let them know, like, hey, I'm still interested. I just actually have, being a friend. And I think most women would actually look at that as a turn on. Like, yes, they'll be disappointed that they're not going on the date, but the fact that you're canceling a date to hang out with your friend and make sure
Mm-hmm.
they're okay, I think most women would be like very turned on by that. And I don't understand how he
Especially in the
didn't like
early
didn't do that.
stages.
Right? Yeah, because this ain't. And listen, and we're still in 1998, so it's not
Yeah.
like he called you up on the cell phone, was like, hey, I'm coming to see you right now. Like clearly y'all had this conversation before you left the house, so you could have easily had called her and been like, hey, we got to
Mm-hmm.
reschedule. I got a friend in need and I got to be there for him.
That was such a nice like.
And I bet you that
Oh, go ahead.
friend wasn't even close to him too. I bet you that friend was like, he
That's
probably
a
only knows him in passing.
This is a
Did
business
that bullshit.
associate. That felt
Oh,
like a
at
business
best,
friend. Yeah.
at
The,
best, for sure.
the little like technology has changed, but things are still universal moment when they're in the first restaurant listening to the voicemail. She makes Miranda listen to the voicemail to like decode the message. I'm like, oh, people still do that. It's just text messages now where you're like, what the hell does this mean? And you just hold the screen up for your friend. And everybody becomes like a literary analyst where they're like, well, he put the comma here
Yeah.
and he didn't put 2 question marks. He only put 1. Oh God,
Or he ended it with a period. That means he's pissed. He ended
Yep.
it with a period. That means anger. Period means anger. I don't get that though. I really don't, because I type with a period just in general.
I type
but
in full
apparently
sentences
people think
all
that I'm
the
like
time.
pissed.
I punctuate.
Yeah,
all the
but apparently
time.
people think that I'm pissed at them because I put a period at the end of my sentences. I'm like, that's not anger. That's just how you type. Like if I was writing you an email, that's how I would email you, with a sentence and a period at the end of it.
If
like
I was sending you old-timey letters for communication, I put periods at the end of my sentences.
Beauty in the period. Yeah, period. Or at least, if not a period, a heart. But I can't do hearts every time I'm done with a sentence. I ain't got time for that shit.
You're like, I do have to conduct business occasionally over text.
Yeah.
I can't end everything with a heart.
Right. Because then I'm going to fuck around and be like texting my agent and be like, heart. And like, oh, shit, this is... That's weird.
Thanks for booking me on that, Steve. Love you.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I actually have a question because, the only thing about this is like, it's funny. I guess I might be a different kind of guy because, like the whole analyzing the message thing, I've definitely done that with guys. Yeah. Like with my guy friends, I'm definitely like, hey, if a girl says this and like kind of this way, like, am I reading it the wrong way? And that's the thing too. That's what's hard about us, because at least they had voicemail and they could hear the voice and hear tones. We're trying to decipher text. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can't decipher text because your brain reads it in a different way. Mm-hmm. So, if you're in a bad mood, you can read that text as "go fuck yourself," or you can read that text as like "I'm so in love with you."
There's a great Key and Peele sketch. Yeah. Have you ever seen that? Where
he's making a meet for drinks.
Key keeps misreading Peele's messages, and he's like, this motherfucker, and he's like ready to beat the shit out.
You want to go right now?
Yeah. He's like, finally meets him
right now. Oh!
And he's ready to kill him, and then he's like, how you doing, friend? And then he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's exactly it, though. But that's exactly it. That's why, like, the romance is kind of weird. That's why, like, I low-key, like, I don't like talking on the phone, but also, like, when I'm talking to somebody romantically, I like to talk on the phone just so, like, things don't get misconstrued. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, depending on what kind of day you've had, you can read a text message as something nasty or something great.
Yeah.
And that's like so much harder to do. But I thought that was very interesting because they always make it seem like in movies or TV shows that like only women do this. But I guarantee you there's probably more guys that like show their friends text messages or like voicemails and shit like that to try to get like an analyzation of what they were trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not at first, because like we're super confident up front. You know what I'm saying? When we're meeting a girl, we pretty much know like, I think she digs me, or at least we just feel like we think that she digs us. But it's probably like, we probably get more insecure later into a relationship than like up front, where I guess more women probably feel more insecure up in the beginning than later on relationship, depending on behaviors leading up to that point, of course. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I found that very fun. And I mean, a woman in the 90s, that shit had to be a struggle. Because here's the thing too, at least we have like instant communication. Somebody had to leave a message. So if they don't leave a voicemail, or if you know, like if they just called you, you don't know if they were calling you to cancel. You don't know if they were calling you to like, you know, tell you about, you know, you don't know. You just like, you have to wait for a voicemail, and voicemails is like, you know, that had to be crazy. Yeah, because then you had to go home and check the voicemail.
Yeah,
for a long time. I mean,
or could do the call in
where you could call.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I just missed that window growing up where you'd call to check messages, because by the time I was like a person that needed to be communicated with as like an adult,
right.
I was like, I either had the cell phone just with the voicemail right there and I could check it, or I was in the texting world finally. So it wasn't like, oh, I have to call and check my messages at home. Like no one was contacting me in 1998 for anything, because I was 12.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like if you were contacting me in 1998, you had to do it through my parents. That's the only way. Because like 9 times out of 10, I wasn't even when like I didn't really start talking on the phone, like even with like my friends and stuff like that, until I was like a freshman in high school, maybe 8th grade. But other than that, I either if we were hanging out, if like you were friends, we were hanging out because we lived in the same neighborhood, so we were riding bikes. So there's no need to be on the phone, because you just come to my house, knock on the door, hey, it's Chris home, or hey, it's so and so home. Yep, he's home. Get on the bikes, we out. That was it.
I did do that a
Very
lot with my
simple.
best girlfriend growing up because we didn't live in the same neighborhood, so we did have to do a lot of like
Mhm.
communicating via phone and would chit chat on the phone. But I never really truly, although if my parents listen, they may have questions, they may disagree, but I don't feel like I ever really monopolized the phone the way they show in movies, you know, where it's like, oh, these teen girls are
Right.
always on the phone. So
Right. Yeah, I totally get that. Get that for sure. Ooh, okay. So let me ask you this.
mm-hmm.
My girl Charlotte
No,
got
I know,
her man.
our sweet little
Oh
Charlotte.
no,
Poor baby.
my girl Charlotte got herself a man. Is her reason for dating the guy in this episode a little bit shallow because it said her requirements were looks,
Mm-hmm.
manners, and money. And the manners part, I get. I'm from the South. Manners are very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can be attracted to somebody who's rude to like a waiter or some shit like that for sure. But like looks and money were the other two requirements, which aren't great attributes to have if you're a good person. It just looks and money.
She
So
has a very like
problematic.
a little, but as you get to know her more, she just has a really specific vision that is shallow.
Okay.
Admittedly,
Okay.
but it routinely, no pun intended with the what I'm sure the next conversation will be, it routinely bites her in the ass. Like it
Ah.
backfires on her a lot
Well.
because it's such a narrow vision. She is not taking anything else into
Oh,
consideration.
first of all, choose your words more wisely. A
I
narrow vision
I
bites
know
you in
what
the
I was. I know what I said. I said what I said.
um, because literally, like two scenes from there, we go into her like flipping out because her boyfriend wants to try anal sex. We're like, what?
First of all, at least he
Like,
asked. That's
and
nice.
this is what he did ask. He did ask,
Considering
but
how many
also,
sex crimes have happened on this show in the first 3 episodes, the asking is
good point. Oh
progress.
my god. Good point. Holy shit! That's such a good point. You're 100%. He might be the first decent guy that's been on this
Might
show.
be. And he has, I don't even remember his name. I watched this episode like 2 hours ago. I don't even remember his name. I didn't write it down.
I don't either.
Surprise, surprise, he will not come back.
Also, he might be the most decent guy because even after she like flipped out and was like, I don't want to do it, he was like, okay, well, let's just like do it how we've been doing it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like he was totally cool with it. So he might be the
we
most decent
stand an
dude so
unnamed
far on
king.
this show. I mean, I'm assuming he's probably not going to be there for the next episode. So like, yeah, I figured he wouldn't be. So I was like, let's give this man his props while he was here. He was actually, he asked.
Yeah.
And he was okay when she said no. He didn't flip out and was like, I fucking break up with you.
Yeah. And it was so nice to see her communicate and be like, look, I know you asked me. I thought about it. I do not want to do this thing. I'm not comfortable with it. And the like two-way communication they had going was fantastic because he was like, yeah, okay, never mind. Let's just keep fucking the other way then. That's fine too.
Well, I mean, listen, after that dissertation that she gave him, I don't think that he would have been down for it. Yeah.
Probably
she
not that exciting
at
like, that point.
Hey. Yeah, he's like, hey, baby, I asked if we could. But also, in all fairness to her, they had only been dating a few months, is what she said.
I don't even remember. Honestly, like 90% of the relationships
it wasn't long enough to ask for anal.
Are weeks long. Yeah, they're very rarely like multiple. Yeah. Like you don't get in to especially in these first couple seasons, they're only dating people for like a couple weeks at a time, and doing all this shit in that short amount of time, which is
right.
Bonkers.
Well, that's what I mean too. Is like that's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, even if it was a few short months or a few short weeks, you don't ask for anal, bro. You gotta. that's way deeper. That's like I don't even think you could do that a year in. But that's my opinion. I feel like you got to at least be like together a year before you can be like, hey, so are you maybe interested in possibly doing that? Like, that's a lot to ask. And like, how are you that bold? You've only been dating this woman. The audacity to even ask that. That's not something that you ask somebody that short into a relationship. Like that's
That's very
the fact
forward.
that she didn't break up with him when he asked. It's bro. Like, come on, man. That's a lot.
Well, then you have
like that's got to happen by accident.
You have on the flip side Samantha, who was like, jam it anywhere you want. Oh, you.
Oh yeah, the bump in the road was like, what was that? A preview. That was a great joke. That was a fantastic joke.
I remember.
Yeah. It was all about that action.
Yeah, I remember reading though the anal sex thing was like, I think, a big deal at the time because it was so openly discussed, because it was like mentioned even as like a thing on like a mainstream show. It was, I think it's lost its like impact over time. Oh, phrasing on that one too.
Oh yeah.
Because it's less, because I think we understand what people want to do in the bedroom so much more and so much openly. In 1998, that was like, what? And now it's like, oh, if they want to, but just make sure you ask, and like that kind of thing.
Man, that's so crazy to see the progression of like us as a society, because like the fact that was a controversial thing to happen on the show, and people were like, there were articles written about it, and then I'm watching a show like Big Mouth, and like they just say whatever the fuck they want on that show. Like, it's out there. It's out there. Like I'm watching. Like I don't know if you've been watching the new season.
I'm behind on Big Mouth.
They took it up. It's fine. Just the show in general, they take it there. They push. They're right on the edge of every single topic. It's right there.
Yeah.
And then we have shows like South Park, which is also like another show, like which is weird though, because South Park was around during this time, and apparently from what you're telling me, like this show brought more controversy than the shit that they were doing on South Park, which is insane to me.
Different controversies.
That show's for their 30 years.
Different controversies, I think. That's fair. And it wasn't. I don't know if it was exactly.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm still, again, like you're talking South Park, and then like these girls are talking about like maybe trying anal sex with their boyfriend. Like, that's not crazy. It's actually pretty normal. I mean, it's one of those things where like just. It's interesting to think that these women who are, but that's probably what it was. It was women who were talking about anal sex.
It's because it was women talking about controversy. Yeah, women talking about sex in any capacity was like, heavens to Betsy, oh my,
No, I just thought about this. Like, why is that controversy? But like, no, it's 4 women in a cab talking about anal sex and making jokes and making light of it as well. On top of that too, and talking confident about it, because Samantha was like, "Yeah, get in that hole, girl. What are you talking about?" Yeah. Samantha had no problem. She was like, why are you being so childish? Let him get in there.
She was like, I know a good lube. Like, I'll help you out, girl. I got your back on this one. Oh, bad choice.
He did, because her and that
the chef.
So like, her and the chef, man, they were getting it in. They were doing some things.
They were 35, 34 as Ariana Grande sings now.
Yeah.
Do the man.
Dude, and that was such a Samantha way. I know.
He blows it like he so hard at the end.
Oh, like he literally did like the most Samantha triggering thing that he could possibly do. Like, other than being like maybe too clingy or some shit like that, he just straight up said, "The wrinkles on your neck." Why would you? Sir.
Woof. Like
that was like, if you wanted to end things with Samantha, that was like, I don't think that might be like at least in the top 5. It's like saying anything about how her presentation is. Immediate dismissal, to the point where they said she quit 20-something men cold turkey right after that.
Yes.
That's how bad it was.
But not forever.
That's pretty bad. What there's
a future.
Talk about that.
I know. I'm okay. I don't spoil it, Elizabeth. Let him learn. He has to learn for himself. But I would like to tease you with future information, I guess.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he fucked up so bad that like she was like, nope, no more 20 somethings. They're like they're all fucking gone. No, thank you.
This age bracket
Done.
is dead to me.
Yo, that's like, you know what they know what he was? He was the food poisoning of 20 somethings. Like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you get food
Right.
poisoning, you're like, nope, not gonna fuck with it no more. He was that. He was the food poisoning of 20 something year olds.
This
And
is
she was
why
like, oh, wrinkles on my neck.
I don't go to Lemonade anymore because I got food poisoning when I had lunch there during jury duty, and it was real bad. Like I missed a day of work.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I tried. There's one nearby me, and I'm always like, I'm not gonna mess with this place. Maybe it's a different location, but I don't know.
That's the thing too. Like maybe like Samantha in some maybe a little longer period of time, you might try again. But like again, when you have food poisoning, it fucks you up for a long time. You don't go back to that restaurant, and if you can narrow it down for that matter, because food poisoning strikes you like a snake. You're just like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah. Oh my god. I was driving home from jury duty, and I was dismissed. I was like, oh, so we don't have jury duty. But then I was truly like, oh no. And I was like on the freeway, like almost, I was like, you just gotta make it this next couple exits. You're almost there. You're almost safe. And then boom, nightmare. Oh my God.
I hear that.
What did you think of Timothy Olyphant's tongue ring?
I was not ready at all.
I don't even think that's his tongue for what it's worth. I think that was somebody else.
No. That was definitely a stunt. That was a stunt
one.
tongue. That was a stunt tongue.
Yeah.
Not like that. Yeah. That was a stunt tongue for sure. But like that was when the way, and then like here's the thing too, the fact that like she still was hanging out with him like after the way that he showed her that he had it, it was so creepy and weird and like kind of adorable too. Like it was weird. It was so weird. He's just like, hey, let me show you something. She's like, what? He's like, man.
I know some people when I was in high school who got like tongue rings and stuff and really thought it was super cool. I didn't get my ears pierced till senior year because I'm very protective of myself, and that hurt. Not jamming a thing through my tongue. Oh my God.
Yeah, because I knew a couple. I like yourself. I knew a couple people who got their tongue pierced in high school, and I remember them having to come to school still with like when they were still healing, and they looked fucking miserable. Like they just like they couldn't eat anything. They were constantly chewing ice. They could barely speak for the first couple of days because their tongue was so swollen and shit like that. I was like, it's not worth it. It can't be worth it.
Do people still do them? I feel like they don't. I feel like they're maybe I'm just old and out of touch. Totally fine. Except it's not.
If that's the case, then so am I. Because other than like maybe on film or television, I haven't seen anybody with like a tongue ring in a very long time.
Yeah, not since like the mid 2000s have I seen anyone with a tongue ring. And now I'm seeing a lot more people with either like a nose ring, either on the nostril or the I do not know what that little part between your nostrils is called.
Septum.
Yeah, septum
piercing.
or like kind of your chin or below your lip or a lip ring or eyebrow. Million other piercings. Not seeing the tongue ring so much. And I'm on TikTok all the goddamn time, and I feel like I would have seen one by now with the youngins if they're still doing them.
Yeah,
I don't think they.
Yeah, I don't think they're as popular. I'm sure there's people that still have them, of course, but like I don't know. I feel like that was like it was hot in like between 2003 and 2005. Like that was when it was like real hot to get it because
like
I think
late 90s
pop stars had them. I think like Christina Aguilera had one for a hot minute. A lot of girls were getting that.
Scary Spice had one. I remember she had one. I feel like Yeah.
Well, and then, I know a lot of.
Poof.
Go ahead. Yeah, it was just going. Well, you know what? It probably who probably ruined it, guys, because I know in high school the girls had their tongues pierced. Every guy was like, "So you got your tongue pierced? Like, what? Like, do you use it? Like, what are you doing it for? Like, why do you have your tongue pierced? You know what I mean?"
Immediately go home and take it out.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If there's a reason that they disappeared, it was our fault. I'll take that hit. I never did it, but like, I know guys.
Because I know that I know that people are like, oh, if you have kissing with a tongue ring, or like they're good for sex. I was like 14.
Right.
I'm like, what? I don't even know.
Well, that's the funny thing is because a lot of the girls in high school that did get their tongue pierced, they weren't sexually active. They just did it because like they saw it on TV or like their
Rebellion.
friends did it and shit like that. Yeah, it was just like another sign of rebellion, like just like getting like their belly buttons pierced. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a true behind it other than like they just wanted to get it done. You know, they
Yeah.
they were out there just like sucking a bunch of guys off. They were just like, oh,
God,
I'm
I hope
rebellious.
not. Not in our age bracket.
Listen.
Jesus Christ, I hope not.
No, I mean, listen, there's a few women that were out there, but like, we ain't gonna go in there.
Oh,
I don't want anybody from my high school class being like, "What the fuck you telling my business on your podcast?"
Don't cancel this podcast.
I had one more thing that I wanted to. Actually, I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
We already covered Mr. Big getting a second chance. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to ask you this because this kind of happened almost, I think, like 2 or 3 times in this episode. Okay, when we're horny, we do make some questionable choices, and then like after we have that orgasm, we kind of come back to our senses. We're like, "What the fuck happened?" Is it the same for women? Because it happened a few times in this episode with like Carrie and Samantha. Like after orgasm, they kind of came to their senses and was like, "Oh, this is not good." So does that happen to women? Are y'all all clouded?
I have not personally experienced that specific feeling, but yeah, I think you can be like chasing something you shouldn't because you're like, I want something, whatever it is, and be distracted, and then get what you want and be like, oh, it's not what I wanted. No, bummer. So yeah, I think that's universal where you're like, I want to get down. Oh, now I'm just down.
I respect that. All right. Oh, also, Carrie, she made a point of saying that 20-somethings always know the important B people. Yeah. I laughed at that so hard because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because we kind of do like, that's because that's our wheelhouse. That's where everybody's like in your 20s. That's when everybody's working at like coffee shops or like at restaurants or at bars or at the, some kind of club or something like that. And they're all your friends because you all like meet at some bar somewhere because, you're an adult and that's where you meet adult friends. And then like, so yeah, you do kind of know like all the fucking waiters and waitresses and bartenders and doormen, DJs and all that shit. But I thought that was funny. I don't like the fact that she called them people though, like B-level people. That seemed.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I thought she was just doing some wordplay, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Nah, she meant
it's the B squad.
Not 8 B squad. Yeah, like they're not too low on the totem pole because you still want to know them because they can get you free shit, but they're not like the upper echelon of they're not Wall Street guys.
Yeah, they're not Samantha running the door to the hottest restaurant.
Right.
Opening.
Correct.
When I saw that though, I could not help but think of New York's hottest club is like the Stefan thing from because you know what, they're always going to New York's hottest club in this show, and that's all I could think of.
That's funny. Well, now every time they go to a new hot spot, I'm just gonna think of Stefan.
New York's hottest club is
New York's
Kevin?
hottest club is.
Also, I laughed because they were like, we're going to a 20-something club. I've watched the show. There are a lot of times where they are at what I would be a younger club, but they are women in their 50s. So it's funny that they make it really like, this is a 20-something club. And I'm like, yeah, you old broads are in here, and you're always at like New York's. You're always at New York's hottest club because your friend is a PR person, and that PR friend is a little older than the 3 other girls.
And who goes to clubs? 20-somethings.
Yeah,
that's all 20-somethings. Maybe a few 30-somethings, but that's every club that you're gonna go to, you're gonna see nothing but 20-somethings. That's just how it is. Also, too, I thought it was kind of funny that you said that too, because yes, all those hot spots that they go to. Actually, matter of fact, the spot they went to in this episode seemed more of an older spot than the other spots they've been to in previous episodes. Like the little after party modeling thing.
Yeah.
They looked like they were there with like a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds. Like everybody looked younger than them, except for like Mr. Big and the main characters. That was it. It was crazy.
That's how I feel at every time I've gotten to go to a cool after party with my friend for our jobs. I'm always like, how do you do, fellow teens? I'm not
me too
very relaxed
my friend he works he works in like real estate and shit like that, but he knows like a lot of like the after hour spots for like, you know, when the bars close and shit like that. And I've gone to a couple with him from time to time, and every time I walk in, I'm like somebody's uncle, so I'm a roll.
Yeah. And I try not to project that. I do try to be like, I belong here, but deep down inside, I'm like, you don't belong here.
You know. Yeah. We know. Yeah, you can feel the energy. Also, too, like
I cling to that friend so much every time we go. I'm like, don't leave me.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm your boy. Don't leave me here.
Like, where are you going? Don't leave me here. Yeah. You can't leave me.
Well, it's also one of those things too, where it's like. It's that energy too. Like when you get, like when I'm around, like here's the thing too. Like usually by that time, I don't know, like because I'm not like a drink all night person. Yeah. So like, you know, once the bars close, I'm sipping on like one drink for the rest of the night. So I'm like sober than most people who are there at these after hour spots. And for one, you got drunk energy, which I can't stand anyway. Then you got young energy. It's like, I usually stay at the spot for like maybe an hour, and then I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to fuck home. I'm going to sleep. It's 4 a.m. What am I doing? This is leading me nowhere.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker.
This is literally doing nothing for me.
I'm not a big drinker at all, and so yeah, the drunk chaotic energy is not something I really vibe with very well.
Yeah. It's
you know what? I will say this for myself. Earlier this year, when I was still in cancer treatment and had a bald head and had to wear a stupid cap thing, so shout out to everyone who's going through it. It's not you, it's me. I couldn't deal with it. But anyway, I did have to go to, or didn't have to, but I chose to go to a premiere thing, and my friend was already working inside, and so I had to just kill time by myself. And you know, thinking back, I'm like, hey, if you can go to like this shit with, you know, like a bald head from cancer, fucking be chill as hell in the future, because nothing's gonna top that weirdness. And no one looked at you twice. You were just there. You got some chicken tenders. It was the movie Onward, if anyone's curious.
Hey,
the damn Pixar movies.
I love that take. I love that outlook. That's fantastic. God damn, that's amazing. Talk about some clarity.
Recent discovery. We're going through it as we discover this show.
I hear you.
But speaking of fashion, I have a question for you. She said she walked 48 blocks in those heels. Oh my God. No, thank you. Chop my goddamn feet off at that point.
First of all, ain't no fucking way she walked 12 blocks in those fucking shoes. When they pay, like, before she said it, and they panned down to the shoes, and I saw them, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Your feet would literally fall off if you tried to walk 42 blocks in those fucking shoes. Those shoes aren't made for 42 fucking blocks.
They're not. But you know what? Here's a couple counter arguments in that defense. She's buying very high-end shoes, which tend to last longer and are better constructed. But that is still brutal city walking to do in them. 2, I did work with a coworker at a previous job, and all she did was wear high heels all the time. She's always very put together, and like basically never wore flats, but it was kind of because she felt uncomfortable in flats and actually felt more comfortable walking in heels after having done it for such a long period of time. And then I read some article that like shows like your tendons or something kind of stretch from too much heel wearing, and you can't go back or something like that. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but Carrie and these other women are always walking everywhere in heels. Like no one's wearing a sensible flat or even a little booty or anything like that, which is my like want to look nicer, but but still want to be comfortable shoe of choice. So that's my theory is
Which
like
you would think would be Miranda style too.
yeah, but in everybody's defense, booties were not quite the thing in '98. We didn't have the
Fair.
cute little ankle boots we got now, and
Fair.
for that I
That's
am
fair.
grateful that those are in vogue at the moment.
Also, too, in 1998, women's tennis shoes weren't that fashionable
Nope,
either. They were kind of trash. Like most
clunky
of
as
them just look
hell.
like nurses' shoes or some shit like
Yeah,
that, or Skechers or some shit. So
yeah,
like, I totally get why they're not rocking any sneaks in this
yeah. I used to love
series right
wearing
now. Because
Skechers though, but I mean, I was also like a child, so it was like a child's wardrobe,
right,
not a grown
right,
woman trying to
yeah,
like pick up dudes in a
correct,
city. I was 12,
correct,
so it was
correct,
fine that I was wearing, giant clunky Skechers.
correct. Because I don't think you pick up any dudes in clunky Skechers. Well, maybe, I don't know. That might be in the. I can't say no. I can't say you
They're
wouldn't
so
at
much
all,
sleeker
but
now,
probably not as
though.
many.
It's hard. They're
That's not now. Then,
oh,
but we're not talking about it right now. We're talking
right.
about 1998, my man.
I think
Now, yeah, you probably be all right.
a lot of factors to still catch someone
Yeah.
wearing giant clunky Skechers. A lot of
Hey, don't
extra
feel
work.
bad. I owned a pair that had a fucking sole that was about that big off the ground. So I had like the big Sketcher joints. I had
I
the
did
ones.
too.
Yeah.
I loved them though.
Which I'm pretty sure that's why my arches failed, because I was wearing those all the fucking time because they had like no kind of arch support in them.
Oh. And they let you in the army with those bad arches, or they let you in the Marines?
Oh
with
yeah,
the
that
bad
was
arches?
that. Yeah, that's not a thing ananymore. Yeah, they're basically, unless you're like missing an arm or an eye, they're like, yeah, come on.
Oh, right on.
We'll figure it out. Yeah,
Nice.
dude. Even my old roommate from back home, he has like one bad eye, and he has to wear a contact in that eye. And they were like, yeah, come on, yeah.
Wow.
You can fly planes. Come on, we'll
Oh
take
my
care of you.
God.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You got to remember too. Technology has gotten better. So like,
That's true.
Boots have gotten more, made better.
Mhm.
Like, vision surgeries and shit like that have gotten better. So like,
That's true.
oh, you only got one bad eye? Cool. Right out of boot camp, put you in surgery. Bang. Now your bad eye is your good eye. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the government can help you out with that if you want.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're spending frivolous money on weapons and sending people overseas to like kill poor people. Hey, why not fix your eye? We got you.
Why not?
Why not?
But speaking of shoe technology, we also get our first hint at her obsession with shoes, because she buys like at least 2 pairs, I think, in this episode.
I smiled like a kid getting candy when she went to the shoe store, because you've been telling me about her shoe fetish, and I was like, there it
only
is.
grows from here, sir.
A little seed in there.
This little seed shall grow an oak of shoes, a shoe tree, if you will.
I was excited about that, because I remember, like, right when she talking about, like, I'm gonna turn my face to a new obsession. I was like, shoes. She's gonna do shoes. She's
gonna do the shoe thing finally.
It's the start of the shoes.
And then this fur coat she's always wearing in this episode is around a bunch. I feel I'm so torn, because like, I think it looks rattier than I remember, but I used to think it looked cool as like, yeah, that's a thing.
It was the color scheme. Color scheme, because it was like a mustard greenish kind of color, like
there's
mustard green brown.
There's something off with those colors. So also, fur is murder. So.
Okay, let me ask you this before we wrap up. I gotta ask you this, because this point we talked about it a little bit, touched on it here and there, but I gotta ask. Okay, so a guy asking you to go for a drink, is that confusing? If he just says a drink, not a date, he says, "Hey, let's meet up for a drink." Is that confusing? Because she seemed very confused by like the drink thing. Now he did fuck it up later by bringing his fucking bullshit friend, but initially I feel like it was supposed to be a date, and I feel like it was pretty straightforward. So
yeah, I think he called it a drink thing. I think probably to be casual, but then he called and left that voicemail that they tried to decode, and it was all confusing. And then he was like, "Well, I did try to." Then he does show up at the one restaurant and says, "I was trying to get in, and then I couldn't, and now I'm out of time. Bye." and then he does the drink thing again. So it probably was not confusing the first time, and she seemed to accept like, oh, he's blowing me off for the night. That's cool. Let's party, and I'm busy with Timothy Olyphant. Upgrade in my opinion. Sorry, Mr.
Yeah,
Big.
thank you for real. He might have been 20 something, but god damn it,
he was 30. As we've proven.
I mean, he was 20 something in the episode, in the
20.
show, 20 something. Yeah.
I think it only truly got confusing the more times he fucked it up. I think the first time, if you don't, because they never said, oh, let's formally date. They were apparently constantly bumping into each other, which I have questions about their mutual friend circles that they run in. Because he is like some high-end businessman. I don't even know if we learn his real name eventually. And we know he does business, but he is just like a generic businessman. In, I guess, the Trump mode. Like I guess it's real estate, which they kind of hint at. But he's always just doing rando business. Like, what is it like if he was your uncle and you'd be like, what does your uncle do? You go, I don't know, business. I have no idea what my uncle Mr. Big is doing for a living. But they were like at a bris together because they both knew some lawyer, and I was like, she's in like an artsy like party circle. I do not know how that overlaps with they said it was a lawyer's like child's bris.
Yeah.
So I just have questions about their mutual friend circles, but I don't think those will ever be answered. But to answer your actual question, I don't think it was the drink thing was casual. They never said let's try to date. So there was never anything formal about their agreement as regards dating, vis-a-vis the decision by the Supreme Court. Just kidding. But the more he fucked it up, the more confusing it got. And I so. Going back to my crossword puzzle of a person, we went on not anything we called a specific date, but when I like declared feelings, I was told like, oh, I know I don't feel that way. But then I was continued to be flirted with a bunch after that. And so that was like, what is your fucking deal, man?
Yeah, I mean, because this dude was low-key, I mean, like, I don't know if he was truly clueless or he was playing a game. I guess it's yet to be determined. But like, yeah, dude wasn't really making it 100% clear. He was like, he was so casual that it made him seem aloof. And I know I personally hate that with anybody. Like, I don't need you to be that casual. If you fucking like me, just like me, and we'll figure it out. But like this whole, it can happen or it don't happen. Well, then why am I here? If I like you and you don't, if you're not showing me you like me, then I'm gonna fucking scram. But apparently that's not how real life works in this show, because she's like, oh, okay, third strike. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
And that's what's so weird is she walks away 2 times, when in many other circumstances she fucking spirals about this guy. And like,
yeah, like episode 1 with Keith, when she figured out he was just like, it was just sex, she was like, all right, I'm out, see you later, no big deal. This guy is apparently different.
He's Mr. Big. Not hashtag not his real name.
I can't see him I can't see him as nobody other than like a young Donald Trump. I feel like this is like his origin story, and I don't like
it. Ever since they said it. Now picture him challenging the election.
I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is like low-key his origin story, and we didn't know it.
This is the alternate timeline where eventually Trump gets his own TV network like he always secretly wanted, and we don't have to deal with him.
Oh no!
This is the alternate timeline.
We're seeing the future. We saw the future in 1998. We just didn't know it. Boom.
Yeah. If we had just given that piece of shit his own TV network, we wouldn't have to be dealing with any of this. She said, proudly wearing her Biden Harris t-shirt.
Oh man, yeah. What an episode. Well, I like this episode. It was very cool. It was it was actually kind of cool to see the women in a different light. Like because the first few episodes kind of painted them as like these women who are like the victims of men, which in some ways they were, because there's some shitty men so far, but they weren't the victims in this. You know, like the men were kind of the victims in this episode. You know, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that dynamic kind of switch. I'm sure it's gonna switch back, but it's been cool.
It is a refreshing breather with the lack of sex crimes that we witnessed. Well, as we know, you learned in the last episode, there's very few consequences to anything. But what do you think the future holds for Carrie and Big? Because that'll be or Miranda and Skipper. Those are
Skipper's
two
gonna get his heart broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skipper's definitely gonna get his heart broken. I know that he's gonna start feeling for. Here's what Skipper's gonna do, because I know this because I've done this. Is what's gonna happen is like he's gonna think that it's more than what it is, because like she's probably gonna like do something just a little bit out of the ordinary of the relationship, like buy him a cookie or something, and then he's gonna be like, oh, maybe she likes me, and then she's gonna start dating some other guy and probably not tell him, because I feel like Miranda's that kind of person. She'll just like thinks it's just gonna like trickle away. So I feel like she's gonna start dating some other guy, and then he's gonna find out by like seeing them together, and then finally get the hint that like it's over, and he's gonna get his heart broken.
I'm Skipper. I was Skipper. Oh God, I was Skipper in that situation. Holy shit! Oh my God, what a breakthrough!
We've all been a Skipper.
We've all been
Skipper
in our
lives. It happened. We've all been Skipper. Even the hardest person I've never fell in love has been a Skipper. They just didn't know they were Skipper, or they were too stupid to know they were Skipper. Carrie and Big, I feel like I honestly I just want to wait and see, because I'm already over the relationship. Just the fact that he was being so aloof, and she's like keeps giving him chances, and I like her and I don't like him, and now I only see him as Trump, so I don't want him to win. So I'm just gonna wait and see. I have no predictions, because I'm too angry. I don't like the unrealisticness of like him getting a third chance. I just don't like it.
Yeah. All right. So well, where can everybody find us? I'm gonna throw it to you, because you created all these social handles and I cannot remember them off the top of my head.
It's all good. Listen, guys, if you want to find, well, first of all, Elizabeth, show us your handles first.
Oh, my personal
you as a person.
My personal handles for Twitter and Instagram are at Elizabeth Movies, all lowercase, both platforms.
And you can find me personally at Mack Diddy Combs, MackDiddyCombs, all lowercase, on all platforms. Also, if you want to look for us, you can look us up on YouTube at Show Me What I've Been Missing. You can also look us up on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, capital S, capital M, capital W Podcast. That's also the same as our Twitter handle. But instead of show, you're just going to put S What Podcast for Twitter. So if you want to follow us on all those things, just look for us at Show Me What Podcast across the board. You'll find us. And we're also on Facebook. Why don't you go there, give our page a like, go to our YouTube, give our video a like, go listen to us on Spotify, give us a like, and follow us, because we are going to be putting out episodes every week. And we want you to come on the journey with us, because it's been fun for me. And if it's been fun for me, I know it's going to be fun for you.
Every Monday, start your week right with a little look back at what you've been missing.